Hi everyone! Welcome back to the studio for this week's episode of Tutorial Tuesday. I'm so excited to have you here with me in the studio. It is the last episode and the last painting of 2025, and I thought we would just do a really calming sunset scene on the beach like we talked about in the live chat from last week. I'm pretty stoked that y'all wanted to see a beach scene because I really like painting beaches, so this is going to work out for everybody because it's going to be really fun. I thought to get us going, we would do a little bit of an outline just to kind of set it up so we can match some of our colors and make it a little bit easier. So to do that, I'm going to use my sable brush and go into some titanium white, bright red, and dark sienna. Be sure to check the description below for the paint list. I'm using a bunch of combination colors here. Basically just my favorite colors. We've got kind of an orange mix with Indian yellow and bright red, and a dark sienna with bright red over here as well for our rocks. So you just get a little bit of variety to some of the standard colors. And I really like doing that for beaches. So, oh, and I also have my ocean mix right in here. So all of that will be in the description below. So for this scene, we're gonna have a sunset, kind of a high horizon. We'll see how good we did on that. I like to use my brush and just double check our measurements. It's actually pretty good, pretty rare. It's a little wobbly across it, but no big deal. It's just a sketch, and we'll use that for our colors later. We'll have, we're doing Kona Beach in Hawaii, so we have a nice beach coming down this way, and I think there's some mountains kind of in the distance over here. Pretty iconic. I haven't been there, but I would like to. That'd be fun. Now we'll have a sunset here, some clouds, some like low clouds. And then maybe some bigger clouds. Who knows? And then I think we will have some kind of really simple little wave. Nothing much, just some quiet colors and calming little sundown here. So yeah, we'll start with that and we'll get some colors on here. I'm going to use my 1-inch brush and get some Indian yellow, and we'll start with a little bit of our sky. Let's add some titanium white to that. I think we'll use some of that and pull it down into our water and sand reflections down over here. I had to think more. You didn't plan this one out.
We'll make it entertaining.
A little bit more moving down. Then I think we'll bring some of this gold out just a little bit further on the horizon. That's nice. Now I'm going to move into some of this orange. We'll use a little bit of that, not much. A little bit more down below. This is going to be some sand down here, but we'll just get some of these nice colors happening. Now let's do a little bit of dark sienna, just a touch of that. Just get some of our sand up here. And now we'll use a little bit of that and some more bright red. Just mix those two right on the brush. And we're just going to dance in a few of these clouds that are going to be kind of in this lower area. We're going to blend these out later, but we just want to get some of this color incorporated here. Now, let's go into Phthalo Green, Titanium White. Lots of Titanium White. Same dirty brush. We'll pick up some of this dark sienna and go back into the Phthalo Green. We're kind of trying to gray it down a little bit and harmonize it. But we're also going to use this color to help us go from this gold into a little bit of blues in the sky. So it's kind of a fun way to keep your colors from mixing up here. So we've got Phthalo Green and our dark sienna with a little bit of bright red in there. And I'll just start to dance this color into the sky. Right here is a little bit of a border. And we'll use this color also right in here. Got just a little bit of paint left trying to get rid of it. Now we've picked up a lot of liquid white and gotten rid of some of these dark colors that we were picking up on the palette. So now we can come back up with this kind of muddy brush and we're just going to soften the edges again. Nice and soft. See how we can lay in the backdrop for some of these other colors and get the gradients started just by remembering kind of a little bit of your layout as you put in your colors. Condition your canvas with intention here. Now we've got a really nice glow happening here, kind of moving into some of our blues and grays. But before we get too crazy with that, I want to build some clouds kind of in this area. I'm going to just wipe out my brush and let's see. Yeah, let's use just our 1-inch brush and we'll go into the bright orange and some titanium white. And we're going to just come up in here. And we'll just tap out a few really fun, bright clouds. Just kind of going out to the horizon here. Maybe let's grab a touch of crimson, just a little hint. Ooh, that's fun. Now it's just kind of mixing with some of those orange and peach colors. Just soften and tap and build some cute little clouds. Maybe a touch more crimson. Okay, let's stop there. And then we're going to build some more colors over here. Let's start with, trying to decide. I changed my mind. I'm going to blend these out just a little bit with a blending brush. Tricked ya. I didn't know what I'm doing. I'm making it up. I have a rough idea. But I really want to play with some of these fun colors in the sky. And we don't always have to go exactly in order. There we go. Nice and soft on those. Push them back. A little bit more color now on the brush. I want to build a touch of blue out here on the horizon. So I'm going to go into a touch of Prussian Blue. Prussian Blue, maybe a little bit of Phthalo Blue, and we're mixing it into this Phthalo Green area. Still on my dirty brush. Let's grab a touch of titanium white, a little bit more Prussian Blue, a little more Phthalo Blue. Yeah, let's try this. I think we need a little more blue. It's just a little more green than I wanted. There we go. Some of this color here, and then we're going to have it on our lower water as well. So we'll just get rid of some of that so we can harmonize. Just a little bit there. Soften. Now let's do Phthalo Blue and titanium white, more titanium white. Maybe we'll have a couple more little punches of sky. I really want to play with some of these colors here and pick out, something that's really going to be complementary to some of the others as we move through. Play with colors and have fun. I'll just put a touch up there. And now we're going to go into, didn't want to do it too early. Let's work into some crimson. We'll go and start with some lavender, violet skies, a little bit of that. Let's get some dark sienna, bright red, and crimson. Ooh. Let's see, probably get rid of this over here. Now we want to kind of match some of these, more harmony. Ooh, this is some fun colors today. Really liking it. This is going to be our sand over here, so this will look nice. Let's do, I'm thinking, I'm just going to soften these together here, kind of flatten them out. Then we can work with that a little bit more. We'll use some of these colors again, but let's see about, let's soften some of this with our 1-inch brush, the same dirty one, and it kind of brings some of these layers in front. Let's do some more over here. I'm really kind of just trying not to go into these big heavy blue areas right now, so we can do some blending and softening of these clouds and just not pick up too much muck before we want to, so that we can still play around with some of these colors. Right, I'm going to pick up my big blending brush and we'll just soften some more of these out. Ooh, good colors. Got a hair on there. Get off. think I'm going to do just a touch of other colors down here. I want to get a little bit more of this kind of sandy color into the water where it's shallow. So we're just going to harmonize that a little bit here. Just a touch up there. Ooh, that's going to be nice. A little bit out there. And now we're going to build a little bit of a bigger cloud kind of coming up and over, like we're standing on the beach and the cloud is coming over our head almost. Crimson and Prussian Blue. Good bit of both, nice and dark, and we'll add a touch of dark sienna to it, just to kind of harmonize our colors again. And we'll throw this one right up top. Something like this. Maybe right off the corner. A little bit more dark on the corner though. Something like that. Like it. Now we'll blend it out with our blending brush. Just soften some of those. You don't want a lot of buildup of paint. Just tickle those edges a little bit. All the way across. Now we'll pick up a fan brush and mix up a few highlights as we come through here. Titanium white, Indian yellow, a little bit of liquid white so that it can be thinner, and bright red. We'll start with this color, and the sun is probably just below the horizon or really, really close, so we'll just kind of pop in a few ideas on the bottoms of these where there's going to be some light. A little bit of our orange. Just flicking that fan brush around on those edges there. Now we'll go into a little bit of crimson, trying to match some of those colors but make them still brighter. A little bit of that peach color in there, liquid white to thin it. Oh, I love this color. Just all the way out into the distance. That one is just getting a little bit of light. Now, moving up just a touch, we'll grab some of our lavender, just a tiny, tiny bit. Make sure we've got it thinned down a little bit, medium thickness. And right on this guy, now, blending brush. Let's see what we've got here. I need to wipe that out. No big deal. Now, we want to pick up some of that paint that we put on the edges and bring it into the cloud. So we want to bring the light onto some of the other areas of the cloud. So we're pulling it back away from our light source. Trying to work from the lightest areas into the darker areas so that you don't pick up too much mud and you don't have to wipe off your brush. You can just keep going. We're working in the pinks, being careful here, down this area. Now, up into this top, we've got a lot of blues, pretty dark, so we do this one last. Just blend that one down. Ooh, cool. Now, I think I want to do one more little cloud. I'm going to wipe off this brush. Go right into the titanium white and some of these blues. Let's just do something right here. Just kind of dancing in the light. Soften it out. Now, yeah, good colors. I like it. It's a little heavy on the clouds up there, so you want to be real careful. But that seemed to get that all nice and softened. Now we're going to work on a little bit of this water. I'm going to pick up my sable brush because I really like to get some of the first layer in with the sable brush. And we'll pick up Phthalo Green, lots of that. And then a lot of our ocean mix. Nice and dark color. And we had our line somewhere right up in here. I think we'll bring that up. Start on the outside. Looks like I'm trailing down, but that's okay because we want it to be lighter over here. So let's do a measurement again to the top. Right about there. Double check. That is not exact. That over here. There we go. That's pretty close. Now all this we want nice and dark at the top, and we can start pulling down, straight down this dark. You just use the sable brush, it works pretty well. We'll stop right about there. Look at how that brush just picks up and pushes around the paint so smoothly. It's really, really nice. Such a cool tool to get in the habit of using, especially for ocean scenes. It just, I really, really like it a lot. But it is a little bit different because it does pick up paint and you have to expect it. All right, nice and dark over here. Now I think we'll re-establish just where the water line is going to be. It's going to kind of jut out of some rocks up there and kind of sort of come down into this area. We can use some blues right with our sable brush. I'm going to get into a little bit of Prussian Blue, tiny bit there. And we'll just get some more paint across in this area, working down into some blue into this corner. Not too much though. Nice and dark at the top here. we'll start in the light area here, working out into some of these crimsons, soften those lines together. I just want to get this diagonal line nice and crisp here before we go. There we go, nice. Straight across on all of it. We don't need to get this too dark up here, so we can just softly blend these. Okay, I'm still just working with my dirty blending brush, kind of bringing all these colors together, softening the horizon, making it nice and straight. Feel free to use more tools if you'd like to get your horizons straight. I choose not to. And you can do that too, or whatever, I don't care. There are lots of ways you can just measure and draw lines. But yeah, anyway, looks good to me. I'm going to put some mountains out here, kind of on the horizon line. They're a little bit closer in reality than actually on the horizon. We'll see if I can get them right. Alizarin Crimson, bright red, dark sienna, kind of just some of our colors we've been working with. Phthalo Green, blue, lots of dark. Lots of dark. And we'll pick up some dark sienna and Dyke Brown as well. And these are, what's these? Islands out in Kona. I don't remember what they're called. Hopefully we can paint them with semi-accuracy here. Kind of funny looking rocks, not gonna lie. Now, one more out here. I have a picture of these for reference. And I'm going to add some more of our ocean colors into that rock mix there. Now, we need to add some of that color into the water. The sun is over here, so it's going to be kind of back this way. And this, we have sand, but we'll just put some of that in as well. always the darkest at the base. And we can blend and soften these out in just a little bit. So we'll work with that. I just wiped off my brush so I can bring some of these colors together. I want to soften, not apply. Wipe off again. I'll just soften some of this out. Now, let's mix up a little bit of a paint with our palette knife. Titanium white. Well, it looks like we have some of these colors here. Let's use this. Our reds from our clouds. And then we'll pick up some bright red and dark sienna and just marble that together over here. Now, it should be a medium thickness because we had some of our liquid white over here. And we'll just use some of this paint down on the edge. Our sun is setting right over here, so we'll have a little bit of light dancing off of these rocks way out here, but not a lot. They're kind of far away. The sun is set mostly. So we'll have some blues, titanium white, phthalo green, and go right back into our mountain kind of rock mixture. And we'll just put some reflections on the back side. We'll grab a little bit of liquid white to that so that we can get this to stick. There we go. Really far away, not a lot of detail. Back to our highlight. Nice. I'm just going to soften these out just a tiny bit and just push them back. Nice. Now, got a little bit of our paint, some green up on this yellow up here. So I'm just going to take a rag and wipe it off. Kind of like it didn't happen. You can just go right back there and kind of cleaned up there. No big deal. Okay, now let's do one last thing here with our fan brush. Find my dirty fan brush here, we'll wipe that off. And I'm going to build a little bit more bright red, dark sienna, a distant cloud right here, a little bit of titanium white. Grab some of our lavender. Nice. Let's just put this right here. Kind of right behind this mountain on the horizon. Now, I'm going to get a sable brush, clean it off. Definitely make sure it's clean. I normally have more sable brushes going, but I don't have a lot going today. Just one. So, clean. I'm going to pick up some titanium white. We'll just wiggle that through. See what we got, like a little gray, green. That'll work. Now, we'll just open up the bristles and soften out the bottom of this cloud over here. Kind of just make it disappear. We're just pushing it to the horizon. Just bring those kind of together here. Yeah. Nice and smooth. And right up here, we're going to start with some of our sand, dark sienna, titanium white. Just finish shaping some of this here. Now, I'll soften some of that. We have this nice golden light coming in here. And then we'll do a little bit more kind of bright red and dark sienna. Yeah, still with the sable brush, just kind of building in some distance and interest out here. Soften that out. Now we're gonna have a little bit of a rock shore up here. So we just pick up some browns and we'll just throw it out. Now with some titanium white and Indian yellow, kind of thin that down, we can just throw out, pull it back, our little bit of beach behind this rock, kind of getting some light on it. And we move into the front of the rock over here. And we'll just kind of work down. This will be our water's edge. Kind of this whole area here. And we'll build more of this up. And we want to pull these all straight back. a little bit more. Nice. Let's do maybe a little bit of a ripple here. Just some thick titanium white for now, just to kind of give us a starting point for some of these ideas. And I'll pick up a little bit. Some nice reflected waters there. Ooh, it's building nicely. I'm gonna pick up my blending brush, soften these back. Okay, now we want to work on the edge of the water. We'll start all the way at the top again. I'm going to use my palette knife and grab some of this white and Indian yellow, a really thin amount, and right out here. We will tap it on. Now working out, it'll get darker. Let's just mix up a little bit of orange and red. And last, just a little bit of kind of a light blue, where we're going to have some shadowed reflected colors out here. And we'll start with the light color closest to our light source, and as we move away, it'll get a little bit darker. We just let that go. Nice. Now, I just wipe off the palette knife, and I'm going to use it just to rock out a few little features from this paint up here, and you can just soften out the base by grabbing a little bit of it and creating some water movements way out there. Maybe we can pick up a little bit more of that and create some ripples for ourselves. A little bit more, maybe out here. Now, let's just keep this color working over here. We'll kind of bring some down. And we're just sparkling light off the top of the water. A little bit of phthalo green and titanium white. Very far away. A little bit lighter now. You could paint nearly all of the water with your palette knife if you wanted to. Let's get some more white into that. A little bit lighter now. I'm going to add some of our brown into it. Kind of gray it off a little bit. Now, let's take our blending brush and just very lightly soften these out. Now, let's do a little bit of some more darks over here. So we'll use, let's maybe do some Dyke Brown, because we're going to want some down here in the sand, and that sand is going to also be in the color of the water. So we'll just start with that, kind of down here. Move this over. Maybe a little bit more. Just a little darker. Okay, a little bit more, and then we'll do some over here as well. Let's just get some kind of sandy ideas over here. A little bit more dark sienna now. Yeah, now gonna pick up some dark, lots of dark, our ocean mix and phthalo green, and then we're just gonna work down some ripples and movement in the water, just grabbing some of that paint, same colors, as it starts to fade. We want to just create some ripples and movement in the water out here in the dark, way further, far away from the sun. Just get some water movement happening. Just kind of rock that brush. automatically we've got some lights and darks. We want to just work with those. Maybe right in this area we'll have a wave that kind of comes through, and we'll just put in a little tiny bit of extra dark for it. It's going to be a small wave. Now we'll just pull that forward, kind of like it's got that little trough flat. And forward. Maybe right here it'll have a little bit of a wave. There we go. Nice and flat. Now, building up to it, we have kind of another trough behind it. We'll just try and bring those together here now. Now nice, we got a nice little kind of rounded wave there just under the surface of the water. Just barely there. We can kind of work back from up here and connect some of this here, getting lighter as we're moving slightly towards the shallower area here. Just some of these colors are going to start lightening up. So we use our dark and white. All right, now I'm just going to take my blending brush and kind of pull down some of these colors up here. I'm going to pull back this and soften it. Soften this. Maybe we'll blend this even more out here. Just give it a little pull down. Now let's get some brown into our water just a little bit more here. There we go. Soften. Here, we'll pull this back. Look at that, almost an entire ocean with very little effort. We'll keep building it though. We've got a little bit of movement out here. Let's get some movement in here. Titanium white. Titanium white, phthalo green. And there was a little bit of yellow in there, but it doesn't matter. Just a little bit of a medium light color. And that's just not quite showing up. Let's go a touch darker. Phthalo Blue. That's a nice color here. Titanium white. There we go. Let's do a touch more up in here. I just want to soften some of this. Rock it out. Water action is just movement, loose movement. Yes, you can pick out specific waves and start building them from really far away, but you can start off by just creating some simple illusions and practice that, and then it'll start getting easier to build the more detailed illusions. So start small. Right now we just want to work on keeping our gradients and harmonizing our colors first. Those things matter. So we're building our color tone, setting in some gradients, softening the distance, building the color as we move closer. And then we'll start to just have a lot of this will just start popping out, and you'll be like, wow, that was just a few little things that we did separately, and then all of a sudden it comes together. Right down in here, we'll do some blues. This is our Phthalo Blue and Titanium White. We're still working with mostly medium thickness colors. If you're having trouble getting one color stick, then consider potentially blending it first and then trying again. That'll be the easiest. And if not, then you can thin or thicken your paints. But anyway, we're trying to just do one little step at a time. We're softening it back, adding some nice contrasting details here. Let's go Titanium White, touch of Phthalo Green now to our Phthalo Blue. Let's find a nice, maybe a little there. Some nice ripples here and close to shore. Some of the way the light just dances off the water and rocks and stuff. Makes some really fun colors, and you can just have fun with this. Even more Phthalo Green now. Okay, here we need, let's do Titanium White and back to some of our blue. Lighter, darker. Ocean mix. A little bit more ocean mix. A little bit longer as we move a little bit closer for some of these little kind of ripples and waves dancing on the water. We were talking about it being kind of a calm day, so it will be just really soft ripples and soft waves. We've got just this one rolling wave still happening over here. We can pick up some more dark and then start building some of that back in here. We've got the wave kind of rolling into shore here. Yeah, we need a little something kind of to tie these areas together. We're still going to come back and soften some of this. Let's do some titanium white and just see if that's going to get us somewhere here. Just a little bit of color there, maybe a little more white. Now, let's do just a touch of softening. I'm going to give a little bit of our angle here for that wave, and then everything else, we pretty much want it to be really flat. Now, let's do some fun titanium white and liquid white, so a little bit thinner. We're still going for a medium thickness, but a little bit thinner than medium. And let's do a little bit of this mixture right out here. A little bit more liquid white. Now, liquid white. I just wiped off the brush and reloaded. And out here, I'm going to pull some of this back. Not too far. A little bit more white. Now, I'm going to hold down just a little bit on some of this. Just for that soft water look. Soften all that out there. Then, palette knife. We've prepped it. Palette knife, load it just straight across, medium texture. And way out here, we're going to do our waterline. Official. Oh, so careful. There it is. Now, pick up just a tiny bit more after wiping off your knife. And from the very back, we can pull out a few with that palette knife edges. Of that gray. Nice. Now, moving forward, let's bring some of that down into this middle area, picking up some thicker titanium white. We wanted a little bit of a medium texture here. Right in this area. Just build that, wipe off the knife, pull that back. Now, we'll get some titanium white, and we want a thin, medium-ish texture. I just ran out, so we made some more. Blue. We're going to use a good bit of it. Cut some of that off. Now we'll get that more white into that. One more maybe here. Now we can take we can use a sable brush. Just soften those, almost like they're coming together. Awesome. Yeah, I'm stoked. I figured this could go both ways. Yeah. Okay, now we've kind of built this up here. I'm going to soften just these edges a tiny bit more. And right on top of this, we'll take a good bit of our color there. And get our fine line right on the edge. Mix up just a touch more paint. Now, sable brush. I just like to pick up a little bit of that same color. We'll just pull it back. Now we've got two different blues down here on the palette, kind of a darker darker blue and a lighter blue. We'll just lighten up this darker one, and it's still a little bit darker, so we're going to keep using that down this way, pulling this shore all the way around. This edge is kind of tricky. Hopefully that's in there. Okay, now let's do some more, mix up more here, and similar color now. Let's do a little bit of a wave kind of right through here. And a little bit lighter color. Right on the top of some of these. Maybe we can hit this one. Okay, now sable brush, and we just pull that and soften it back. And we kind of have a wave starting to shape over here, so we want to work into that here. Nice and flat, and then we curve into it. Just wipe that off a little bit. Now, few more little ripples coming into the shore here. Now, we'll pick up just a little bit of that thin color, and maybe we have some of these little movements back here. Just seeing what we can create in these waves. Up here close to us, a little bit more detail and interest. Now, blending brush, I'm just going to soften in back to these a little bit there. Now I can pull down a few more reflections of this water onto the shore. Let's wipe that off just a touch. Cool, good stuff. Now, I'm going to pick up my fan brush, get some liquid white, and we'll go into these blues here. And I'm just going to move up into this water, and we'll just give it a few fan brush squiggles. It's a good, got a lot of bristles, and it kind of moves paint in some fun ways. I really like to give the water some cool texture. That's nice. Maybe right here. Okay, now we just need to soften these out just a touch there. And we'll grab, I think we'll just leave this kind of soft over here, but I want to build a little bit more texture. So we'll pick up the fan brush and get a little medium texture. Whites and blues. We'll add a touch of crimson to it. A little bit of sparkle. There it is. Maybe let's pick right down in here. We'll just do a little bit more movement of some of these waters. Kind of just some foamy bits and there we go. Now we'll use that same color here, cut off a roll, and we're going to come right down here and have a nice water line. Right there in front. Always wiping this off before I reload, because I want a nice fresh load of paint. Get a little bit more here. Fan brush. Let's start way back here. Ooh, that's dark. Let's wipe that off. That's okay. Here we go. Now we're just pulling back a little bit of these. Right at the edge here, white, titanium white, and our blues. Nice medium texture, a little bit of crimson to it. Just a touch brighter there. And I think we'll use a little bit of this paint here. Pick up your script liner. Load that on the script liner. You can just dance in a few little fun details of this. nice and shallow. Just a little bit of water on the sand here. This wave is kind of coming in. Just rolling into the shore. Just pick out a few little details. Maybe this light is going to be hitting off the top of this kind of knoll out here. Just that wave rolling in. You just throw a little bit of light on there. Now let's do some nice golds. I need some titanium white and yellow, Indian yellow here. Mix those two. And we're going to play with some of this just out here on the water, maybe in some of these areas. A little bit of sun. I'm trying really hard not to let my knife touch the canvas. It's just the paint on the knife touching the canvas. So as soon as my knife does start touching, then I need to reload. Now we're kind of dancing on some of this. This will be like more of the top layer, so we don't want to put it too much into the dark. We just set it right on top of some of our lights. Maybe we'll have some ooh, you can hear it scraping the canvas. Let me just reload. It'll be getting a little bit less out here, but we could still throw on a few here. Maybe just pick up my script liner and I'm going to go into some of my brush wash and liquid white and some yellow, just a little bit of yellow, really thin. I want to make it almost run. Let's do some little water ripples out here. Almost can't even see it, but you can see it. really far out there. Almost can't even see it, but I like it. Now, I have this nice color here. Let's use it. Very thin, kind of light gray. Let's see. Cut off a roll of that. Not too much, and right as we're moving a little bit closer, maybe one more little idea there. Script liner again. Nice and soft. And we'll use our blending brush, just double check that it's clean. Now, make these just some nice water reflections happening there on the edge of shore. Nice. Okay, now sable brush, wipe it out, and then we're just going to kind of bring a few of these out. We want to pull out their edges if they need to, or just soften. Sometimes the knife doesn't do what we want and we can fix it. So we just soften out a few of these areas. I think we need a little more gold up there. Palette knife. And then we'll bring this down. As it's kind of bringing some of that light down. Sable brush, and then we can just kind of bring these together there. Soften some of them out. And we'll go back with a little bit of titanium white and some blue. Just soften and open up the sable brush, kind of make sure it's kind of clean. Out here is far away, so we want it soft. Here is soft too. Cool. All right, now I think we need maybe just one more little distant wave out here, and then we'll finish up our shore, and I think we'll be done pretty soon. So let's get a little bit of a gray, blue, and white. Just about medium. And right in here, a little bit lighter. We just throw in another Kind of a wave rolling in out there, just a small one. Pull some of that back, soften it down, forward, and we just have another little kind of a wave rolling in there. All the waves. Nice and soft and calming scene, I think. I like it. Now let's do a little tiny bit on the shore. We can grab some titanium white, and we want to make this a little bit lighter. Titanium white, liquid white, and we'll cut off a roll. And right through here, press down. And we just want to pull very, very softly. Straight back. Nice and soft. Now I think we'll just have a little bit kind of coming down the front here. Gotta get my canvas off. Right down. Something like that, I think. Now let's see if I can get this back in here without dropping it on the ground. Oh. Success! Okay, we are in business. All right, let's finish up this cute little beach scene. I'm gonna just soften this edge here a tiny bit. Gonna just soften that gradient a touch. And I think just gonna have this be like a misty beach back there. And up here, we'll put a log sitting on the shore. I'm just gonna get some of my 2 browns, and we'll see if we can make something kind of simple. We'll add some midnight black. And we've got light coming from the side over here, the right side. We still are going to have some dark sand coming out of this log. And we'll throw some sand that way. Now, with our big brush, we can just soften this. kind of set it down. Now let's build some colors on this log with our midnight blacks and browns. We'll get a little bit of this built up here. Maybe it's like an old tree. It's got some few bits of sticks left on the... It's not all broken up from from the water. And it grows this way, and maybe that one broke off. And then there's another bit there, broke off. Now let's do, I wiped off my brush, a little bit of titanium white and bright red, dark sienna. And we'll just see if we can build a few. A little bit of Dyke Brown. I want to gray it down a little bit. We just can drag on a few little ideas of this spark. Now, a little bit of a gray, blue, titanium white. We'll go into these blues right here. Dyke Brown and blue. Maybe a touch of midnight black. Now, for the fun part, palette knife and titanium white, bright red. Let's mix a tiny bit and some Indian yellow. And we'll just bounce off some light off of the edges. All right, a little bit more of this bright color that we just made. Cool, now we need to do a little bit up here. We'll just get some gold and kind of highlight some of that rock. Just give it a little pop up there. Crazy. A little bit of white and some yellows and golds. Just a little bit of our sand kind of sparkling through. Then we have it coming back just a touch down here. We'll pick up our big brush, big blending brush. Now let's just think, maybe there's a little bit of water that the tide is kind of going in and out and tickling around this rock or stump that we've got out here. So we just have like a tiny bit of water. Just kind of pooling around the edge here. Sable brush. And just try a little bit more. Right underneath that there. And underneath the back right there. Yeah, that was fun. I like it. I think I'm going to take my sable brush and just a little bit of these sandy colors, and I'll just flatten this out a little bit. Get a little bit closer to our log. And then with our big blending brush, you just soften it just a touch. There we go. Nice. Now we have our little shadow from that rock. We can get just a touch more light right there on our sand. And then I like to just kind of make the sand a little bit more movement here too. We can just take some contrasting colors here and there and put a little, you know, some little footprints and ripples and dimples and the wind blowing and all of that. It's just not going to be completely flat, you know? A little bit of that. Less as it moves further away. Cool. All right, I think this should get a signature. This is the last painting of 2025. That's crazy. Crazy. I'm gonna do some liquid white and bright red today. And I think I might actually sign it over in that corner today, because I've signed a lot of them on this corner. And I like to switch it up. You have to anticipate the way the brush is going to bend when you're writing. So go slow. Definitely helps. There it is. Cool. That was fun. All right, I am all done with my painting up here. I'm really excited. This is a really fun and kind of a relaxing painting for me. I love painting beaches. I didn't really want to do a big wave or focus on anything super challenging, so we just did like some really simple stuff today. So I hope you enjoyed this Tutorial Tuesday episode number 82, the last episode of the year. And stay tuned for the very end. I'm going to do a nice little slideshow of every single episode I did this year. 52 episodes, one for every single week this year. So thank you so much, everyone, for being a part of this channel and for subscribing to my channel. Or if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Anybody who's painting and follow along with these paintings or coming to the live premieres, I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of all of this. The best part of the week and my favorite part about Tuesday is Tutorial Tuesday. Smile and be happy, friends. Boom!